there is nothing to save because it's gone.
A family returns from vacation to find their home destroyed. We're live as firefighters ramp up their efforts to fight the growing wildfire. And did today's rain bring any relief?
I'm looking down and you could see the blisters and the skin just peeling off my arms and my legs.
New at 6, only NBC2 talking with the man who risked his life to save his rhinoceros from 75-foot high flames.
So you just finished filing your taxes and then you get a phone call like this. Why not to answer it coming up.
Live, the news you count on. NBC2, News at 6.
This weekend's rain did not put out the 7,000-acre fire in Golden Gate Estates. Now the threat of high winds has firefighters bracing for more flare-ups. The 30th Avenue fire has destroyed 9 buildings, 4 of them homes. It's only 65% contained.
Firefighters say damage from a 400-acre wildfire in Lehigh Acres would have been much worse if not for the much-needed rain over the past 24 hours. That fire started by a cigarette. It destroyed 4 homes. NBC2 has live team coverage. Risa Morris talked with the Collier family who lost their home. But we begin with Levi Ishmael in Lehigh.
Well, this is all that's left when strong winds like we've been seeing lately meet heat and some of these sparks that left from a cigarette just like this to create all of this damage. Now, people I talked to say that they are hoping this weekend's rain, for as little of it that we got, can actually help give some relief.
When the rain came in, it was such a blessing.
Ask anyone in Lehigh Acres and the answer is the same.
Many people pray for the rain.
A brush fire burning 400 acres claimed 4 homes in this neighborhood, but neighbors spared say without rain, it could have been much worse.
It's very dangerous and there's really not a whole lot we can do to prevent it.
Typically, a fire this size would smolder for weeks after. Not this time.
God listened. I think God listened our petition.
Once the clouds parted, Lehigh Acres and much of Cape Coral breathed a sigh of relief.
Thank you, God. Thank you, God.
April showers brought a ½ inch of rain Saturday, but a record 2 inches of rain Sunday.
There were still so many hot spots going on everywhere. The firefighters were still on duty 24/7. The helicopters were flying around all weekend. So when the rain came in, it was such a blessing.
It may not look like much, but the rain fed canals with more than 60 million gallons of water. To put into perspective, that's a 4-day supply into Cape Coral. From one dry community to another, any rain is a blessing. Now in Cape Coral, the rainfall that we got did not change anything as far as the watering schedule. Everyone is still being urged to water only once per week. Now I'm being told by the Florida Forest Service that we still need a few more days of consistent rainfall to get out of this drought slump. Reporting live in Lehigh Acres, Levi Ishmael, NBC2.
The North Collier Fire Department says the 30th Avenue fire sparked when a lawnmower hit a rock. NBC2's Risa Morris continues our live team coverage. She spoke with a woman who found out she lost her home while celebrating her anniversary at Disney World.
Peter, here at the Krocheski's family property, you can see some serious tree damage, but the homes back there are untouched. It's not until you walk further back in this property when you see that their youngest daughter's home is gone. 4 generations, 9 people total, call this property home. It's a place big enough for the entire Krocheski family and a place that they call very special.
We're just super blessed to have everybody here.
Tammy Krocheski is the mom of 3 girls, and on Friday, she did one of the hardest things she's ever had to do. She told her youngest daughter, Lindsay, and her family that their home burnt down during the massive Collier County wildfire while the family was vacationing at Disney.
You have feelings where sometimes it's just like, oh, it's just stuff, for goodness sakes, and we're all okay. And then all of a sudden you think about that one thing of Grandma's that was there.
It's still hard for Lindsay Rotundo to come back here, knowing her house is nothing but ash. She didn't even try to sift through things because there's nothing left.
It's just so final, you know, really realizing that there is nothing to save because it's gone, you know, all of it.
Rotundo and her husband are figuring out how to move forward. But first, they have to figure out how to explain all of this to their 4-year-old son.
I did say that there was a fire in the yard and that it looks different, but our house is Grandma's house right now.
Even with all of the damage, Lindsay says the most important thing is that the whole family can work through this together. Lindsay's sisters have set up a GoFundMe page for her. Lindsay's family rents this property, and she and her husband did not have renter's insurance here. If you'd like to donate, you can find the link on our website, NBC2.com. Just click on news links. Reporting live in Golden Gate Estates, Risa Morris, NBC2.
Firefighters are making progress on another fire in Collier County that has been burning for nearly a month. The Cowbell fire has scorched 22,000 acres in the Big Cypress National Preserve, but it's now 75% contained. About 250 people are working that fire. He compared the fire to a hurricane. Still ahead at 6, an NBC2 exclusive. We talk with the Collier County wildlife owner who risked his life to save his rhinoceros.
For the first time, we're hearing what the husband of Mary Knowlton saw as his wife was accidentally shot and killed during a police demonstration in Charlotte County. Gary Knowlton says he was standing just 10 feet from his wife when she was gunned down by Officer Lee Cole. Knowlton says he thought the shooting was part of the demonstration at first, until he saw his wife covered with blood. It wasn't until later at the hospital that he found out she had died.
I just said, "Can I see Mary?" Well, I guess I missed the part where they got me private and told me she was dead.
These are pictures from the night of that demonstration. Officer Lee Cole is charged with manslaughter. He mistakenly thought the gun was loaded with blanks. An afternoon school bus crash sent a Lee County student to the hospital. Investigators say the Gateway charter school bus slammed into the back of a LabCorp SUV at Gunnery Road. The student told deputies she hurt her neck. The LabCorp driver was also taken to the hospital.
In NBC2 News, alert people across Southwest Florida are reporting threatening phone calls as part of a new surge of scammers pretending to be with the IRS. As NBC2's Dave Elias explains, they're trying to catch you off guard just after the tax deadline.
Yeah, Peter, hundreds of these phone calls have been reported across our area. In fact, the IRS says that it has seen a 400% increase in these fake calls nationwide. Now, a renewed warning tonight to be aware the IRS won't call you. Instead, they'll contact you by mail. It may look like the IRS calling until you answer.
Right now, your physical address is under investigation.
Then you hear a threatening message.
An arrest warrant has been issued under your name.
Mark Pelletier received one of the calls.
It was a voicemail that I got, so I called the number back, and this guy said he was with the Internal Revenue Service.
Followed by scare tactics because he owed back taxes.
The voicemail said that there was a warrant out for my arrest.
Mark, though, began to get suspicious.
I was just like, well, can't I just go to the local IRS office and pay this?
Mark is not alone.
As scary as it is, just hang up. The more information you give them, the longer you stay on the phone, the more information they have to use to take advantage of you.
Nationwide, 10,000 people have been taken advantage of, totaling $55 million. One of them, an H&R Block client of Mo Rustock.
Mo, I did get a call from IRS. They say I still owe him $583.
The issue's so serious, the Cape Coral PD is issuing this reminder.
Pretty much, the IRS is not going to call you. They're going to contact you by other means.
Corporal Phil Mullen says thieves are hoping to catch you off guard.
And they will blanket. You got to call 100 people, you might trick one, but that's all they're looking for.
Luckily, though, Mark wasn't one of them. He hung up after getting suspicious.
He wants to give me this whole runaround, and I'm like, well, something's not adding up here.
Now, a couple of things to remember here. The IRS is never going to call you and demand payment without first reaching out to you by mail. They will never ask for credit or debit cards over the phone or email, so the best advice is to hang up immediately. Live in the studio, Dave Elias, NBC2.
A well-known Port Charlotte doctor died while doing what he loved, trying to help others. Dr. Augustin Collado, better known as Dr. Gus, was hit by a car while walking into the Virginia B. Andes Community Clinic. Doctors say the cardiologist volunteered there 4 days a week, seeing at least 100 patients a month.
When you called him and said, I have a patient for you to see, he didn't say, well, does he have insurance? Does he have Medicare? He had one answer. Send him over. I'll take care of him.
Dr. Collado was one of the founding members of Fawcett Memorial Hospital. He was 75 years old. The crash remains under investigation. Police say the driver, who died in a crash this morning on I-75, was trying to pass cars on the shoulder of the road. Joel Lemus slammed into the back of that truck near Bonita Beach Road. His passenger, Danielle Ortez, also died.
A man who grew up in Charlotte County and died on the job as an Orange County deputy was among those remembered today in Tallahassee. Norman Lewis was killed in a motorcycle crash back in January. He was looking for the man accused of gunning down an Orlando police sergeant. Hundreds of officers from across the state were at the state capitol today to pay tribute to their fallen officers.
To the families, we also promise to you that we will never forget you. You are our heroes. Your sacrifice continues day in and day out.
The Fraternal Order of Police says 792 officers have lost their lives in the state of Florida.
The Fort Myers Beach Town Council will vote on a new town manager tomorrow. Former Marco Island town manager Roger Hernstadt. He resigned from Marco Island in February, saying that a new beginning would be best for that city. Police say it would take about $700 to clean up this graffiti at Naples Park. It was a mess, as you can see, found over the weekend at the concession stands at Fleischman Park. Police say they caught the boy who did it with a can of spray paint.
A 60-year-old ordinance keeping boats away from the Naples Pier is now a thing of the past. For decades, boaters were warned to stay 150 feet away from the pier, but Florida Fish and Wildlife asked them to remove the signs after someone complained, telling them it wasn't enforceable. Now, some fishermen on the pier are worried boats are going to get tangled up in their lines.
He came right next to here, almost was exactly in this spot.
Boats still can't go under the pier or tie up next to it. Florida just made it easier and more rewarding to remove invasive pythons from the Everglades. Starting today, anyone can participate in the Python Pickup Program. Here's how it works. You submit a picture of the snake that you removed and where you found it. Then you will be entered into a monthly drawing for prizes. For more information, go to NBC2.com and click on these links.
A clothing store thief breaks in but can't break out. The burglary fail caught on camera tonight at 11.
That fire grew so fast. There was like 70-foot-plus flames.
He refused to evacuate because he didn't want to leave his rhinoceros behind. Next at 6, this Collier County man talks about his dangerous decision to face a raging wildfire, only with NBC2.
Here's the latest update on the fire danger for tomorrow. The forecast from the Forest Service says Lee, Glades, Hendry, Charlotte, and DeSoto counties are all back in the high category. Why is that after a couple of days of rain? We're going to talk about the weather changes we'll see this week coming up.
We need more of that stuff falling from the sky.
We do, and you know what's really interesting is we had nice rain over the last couple of days, and yet tomorrow the fire danger is going right back up.
Yeah, it didn't do much.
I know. Well, let's get right to it now. The first thing we want to check is the Doppler radar picture, because that has really helped us out the last few days, but now it's looking dry again, and it's going to stay this way for several more days. The rain was welcome, and it has now moved on by. You can see a couple of showers over toward the other coast and off to the west of Marco Island, but these are all drifting that way. So we're going to stay dry this evening, and it will be dry again tomorrow. The rain that fell earlier today was pretty good in parts of Lee County, not so much in Collier, and just really spotty in Charlotte, as you can see here from the dual pole radar estimates. Our temperatures now are sitting in the mid-70s. We're going to drop into the mid-60s by tomorrow morning. Two things and two reasons why the fire danger is going up: wind and lower humidity. First of all, the wind, you can definitely see it's kicked in today. We're going to see this again tomorrow. The humidity is not so low right now. We're still looking at 65 to 70% humidity. But by tomorrow afternoon, those northwest winds are going to push in some pretty dry air, and that will lower the dew points, that will lower the humidity, and that's why the fire danger is going to go back up for Tuesday. Even though we've had the rain, the fire danger will go up because the humidity drops and the wind keeps up. There's your forecast for tonight. As you can see, pretty quiet weather. This is the bigger picture with the big rains from the weekend over here, the spotty rains from today right there as the cold front moves through, and now this is the weather headed in our direction for tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday. Now, the overall pattern, as you can see, is looking pretty quiet back here, but the more impressive look is in water vapor imagery, where you can see the dry air in the red color and the moisture in this sort of grayish green color table. Look at the difference. Look what's coming toward us. This is a time lapse from this morning through this afternoon. Really deep, dry air. When we talk about deep, dry air, we're talking about from the surface above and into the upper atmosphere. When it gets this dry, it just really is virtually impossible to make it rain with any significance. All the rain and moisture is now moving away, and that's the story for us. Here's the forecast for tomorrow. As you can see, the morning looks pretty good, partly cloudy. The wind out of the west-northwest, kind of windy tomorrow, but no rain. As you saw, the dry air is really in place. Tuesday into Wednesday now, we're going to start to see some subtle changes as the wind comes back around to the south and southeast. Now, this is long-range forecasting, but by the end of the week, you're probably not going to really be a fan of the overall weather picture because of that. The wind's going to come out of the southeast and the south, and the humidity is going to really shoot back up with 90 to 92 degree weather by the end of the week. It's going to get hot. All right, here's the forecast for tomorrow. Boating weather looks a little windy, westerly at 10. Now, that's the average speed. I think we can easily tack on wind gusts up to 20 tomorrow afternoon, so the caution is probably going to be extended through the day. And as I mentioned, don't forget, the fire danger goes up again tomorrow because of the lower humidity and the windy weather on Tuesday. This is the part that I'm really looking forward to. This weekend, 92 degrees and humid both days. That's your forecast.
This was literally like a hurricane full of fire. I've heard of stories of fire racing. It was racing.
He risked his life trying to rescue his rhinoceros and other exotic animals from a wildfire in Collier County. We first showed you this picture Friday of Walter the rhino surrounded by smoke.
Donovan Smith suffered second-degree burns saving the animals. New at 6, only NBC2's Jacqueline Beavis spoke with him today inside a Tampa burn unit.
A zebra, a panther, a rhino. You've heard about some of Donovan Smith's animals, but he says that when wildfires were taking over his property last week, it wasn't just the animals he was concerned about. He says part of his duty is the safety of other people as well.
This is Jethro right here, and he's a Watusi cow.
One photo after another of more than 3 dozen animals at his wildlife preserve.
Ready? Here he comes. And he's just happy to see me.
Including Walter the rhino, made famous when he was surrounded by Friday's wildfire.
I love them all.
Donovan Smith sits up in his hospital bed to share his harrowing story of traveling back into the thick of a wildfire that consumed thousands of acres.
So I raced through, and what it was a literal funnel of fire. I thought it was just going to be a little piece. It was a half mile of road with fire on both sides of me on top, and I'm on a four-wheeler.
Almost a quarter of his body now covered in second-degree burns, something he says he noticed as it was happening.
And literally, I'm looking down, and you could see the blisters and the skin just peeling off my arms and my legs.
Smith felt obligated to get back to his 40-plus acres of the Inyala Wildlife Preserve with 4 animals still there. A panther, a black leopard, a tortoise, and the rhino.
So I'm literally running down a chart in my mind, what needs to be done, and that's part of the duty in having these animals. I'm the resident expert, for lack of a better word. I'm the responsible party, and I had to assume my responsibility, So it's that simple.
It's a risk some argue he shouldn't have taken.
I decided to put myself in harm's way, essentially, but mitigating the risk the best I could to keep everyone else safe, including the animals.
Now he's awaiting surgery and expecting lots of physical therapy for a full recovery, but Smith is keeping his outlook just the same.
Bad things happen. You touch the stove, you get burned, You go into a fire, you get burned, and it hurts, and I got hurt, but I'm choosing not to suffer.
Reporting in Tampa, Jacqueline Beavis, NBC2.
Charlotte County Commissioners will talk about issuing a burn ban tomorrow. That includes fireworks, sparklers, and outdoor burning. Right now, Collier County, Cape Coral, and Fort Myers all have burn bans. Lee County does not.
The games may be in the fall, but in Florida, football is a year-round sport. Today marks the start of spring practice for high school teams around the state. As always, NBC2 is your home for the best coverage of high school football in Southwest Florida. Over the next month, we are going to profile a different school every day at 6 o'clock. Welcome back. Let's start with the school that started it all in Lee County, Fort Myers High. Sammy Sirianni and the Green Wave coming off a trip to the regional finals. Charlotte needed double overtime to end the season of a team that got better as the year went on. Now there is some work to be done. Darian Felix is among those who have moved on to the next level. Sirianni is anxious to see who steps up.
It's an exciting day. The kids are excited. You know, it's kind of a a little different vibe in the air. But doing this as many years as I have, I'm just excited to see the young kids and kind of see how they've progressed.
It's been called the world's fastest half mile. Unfortunately, Bristol Motor Speedway is the same as every other track when it comes to rain. Bad weather forced the Food City 500 to be postponed yesterday. Back at it this afternoon. Kyle Larson in the 42. He wins the first segment. Dale Earnhardt Jr. not as fortunate. He loses his oil cooler and hits the wall. Junior's day is done. Martin Truex Jr. takes the second segment. That's his 5th segment win of the year, more than any other driver. What matters most, of course, is who takes the checkered flag. And for the second race in a row, that is Jimmy Johnson. He wins for the 82nd time in his career. Alvis Ross Chastain had an interesting weekend in Bristol, huh? He made headlines despite not finishing the Xfinity Series race because of an accident. Chastain had an altercation with fellow driver Jeremy Clements and punched him in the face. Fortunately, there will not be any penalties.
Shook hands with all the NASCAR guys and with Jeremy and agreed that it's over, and that's that. Told me not to can't go around punching people, and told him that he can't go around grabbing people and yelling at them. No penalties though.
We've got a huge hockey game at Germain Arena tomorrow night. The Everblades are still alive. The good guys took 2 of 3 in Orlando, getting the series back to Southwest Florida. They still trail 3-2, so the Blades are on the brink of elimination, but they are also on the verge of forcing a winner-take-all Game 7. And that's sports.
All new tonight at 11.
A Florida principal suggested white students should be in the same class. How the school is taking action tonight at 11.
Take a look at this big guy. An NBC2 viewer took this picture in the Cross Creek neighborhood off Daniels Parkway in South Fort Myers. See, it's a large alligator. A reminder that it's mating season, so they're on the move. If you see one, do not touch. Call animal control.
Just like most mammals, they kind of throw caution to the wind during mating season.
Good advice. Do not touch. Hey, here's your forecast for the rest of the week now. Fire danger, believe it or not, is going back up because the humidity is dropping, the wind's coming up, the rain is long gone. It was nice to see the rain, but it certainly has not put an end to our overall dry pattern, and it looks like it'll be pretty dry the rest of the week.
And with those temperatures, fire danger will go right back up.
That's right. The good thing is the humidity goes up too, so we'll see.
See you at 11. Good night.
See ya.
Stay connected, on air, online, and on the go. Everywhere you are, count on NBC2 first.